What's good with y'all? Your eyes and your ears don't lie. Dropping back in with you. The audacity and the ignorance of this pedophile protection league of MAGA and this piece of shit of a president. So you gonna really sit here and think that everybody in the world is as stupid as your followers in your cult? So first you don't know nothing about Epstein, and the minute you found out he was a dirtbag, you stopped messing with him and kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. And then the most recent bullshit. So MAGA Mike gonna say you an informant for the FBI to take down Epstein? The first time we ever heard that shit, that seems like you would have led with that the minute that they start talking about your connection with him. Because we know it's bullshit and it's a lie, but your supporters eating this up because they are brainless. Like they really are. So this shit that you're saying now about how I don't draw, I don't doodle. There is no book. I never did anything for him for his birthday book. And then after subpoenas, the book is out there, highly redacted, which hopefully that's going to change because they've subpoenaed and they're supposed to meet with the Epstein estate and see the unredacted book by the end of the week because they want to know who's in these pictures that you redacted, the Epstein estate. So hopefully they'll get more information because as Jasmine Crockett said and all these Democrats have said, we don't care who's in it. We want to punish everybody. So if they are Democrats, so be it. So they're not trying to protect members of their party. They're not trying to protect the predators. They want to see all the information and the details, and they want to punish everybody involved, which is the opposite of what the Republicans want. All of y'all are part of the Pedophile Protection League. That's what your goal is. It's not justice for the victims. It's protection for the predators. That's your damn signature in that book. That is absolutely your signature. And when you compare it to everything that's public and especially all these executive orders, you could really compare it to that because your dumb ass done signed all these damn executive orders that you don't even understand or can't even read because every time you break out your pen to sign it, somebody got to lean in and tell you what the hell it is. You dumb senile son of a bitch. So that's your signature. And as much as that letter that you said you didn't write to him is disgusting and despicable, that picture of you holding a check for buying a depreciated woman for $22,000 is even worse. With all of y'all laughing and joking, and then the captions that were on it were even worse. And I use woman sparingly because you probably, it seems more likely that you guys were talking about minors, about how she has the ability to learn still and some of the shit that was in the captions. So you are really just a piece of shit and everybody down with you. And just the connection to how all these fake modeling agencies were basically fronts to bring over European girls to be sex trafficked through Epstein and Trump and all these people involved with it. Because these are not the actions of an innocent person. Nothing that you've been doing indicates you're not involved in this shit. Neck deep, not even knee deep, you neck deep in it. You might as well be listed as the third co-conspirator. Because if we ever were to get a hold of the sweetheart deal details, I bet you were one of the listed co-conspirators in that. I bet you. And that shows the corruption that you saw by Pam Bondi and his defense attorney who got the deal. You listing, so you won't release them to the public, but you listed multiple co-conspirators that are not to be charged. So the only way that you can even reasonably think that would happen is that you got a list of some powerful ass people that are listed as co-conspirators that will never be named. And Epstein wouldn't have had any kind of punishments of any significance hadn't it not been charged in New York. Because y'all gonna let him slide on everything in Florida. 1 or 2 years ain't nothing for the crimes that you committed that should have brought you life. So the amount of people that were involved in that is absolutely a RICO case. You're looking at the amount of people that were involved in operating this criminal enterprise. It was absolutely a RICO case. And, you know, if people remember how J.P. Morgan had to pay that money, because y'all knew when you have thousands and thousands of wire transfers going through for millions and millions of dollars and you ain't flagging them, you aid and abetting. It's similar to, since I'm in California, you know, I remember watching the news. I remember my bank, my credit union, sending out letters to all of its members where when they started to legalize all these dispensaries for marijuana and everything, that they said, we're not honoring transactions at dispensaries. They sent that out to everybody in my bank. Because I got the letter. I said, what the hell you send me this for? I ain't out buying drugs. What the fuck you send me this for? They said, oh no, sir, we sent this out to everybody because we wanted them to know that although marijuana is legal by state, we don't want to be implemented in any type of federal money laundering or drug dealing or any conspiracy to commit anything illegal. So we're not honoring any kind of debit card or credit card transactions to any of these dispensaries. So if your shit is listed as a transaction for that, we're not honoring them. So they were making it clear that we're actively looking at shit where if our system detects that this shit is a business that sells weed, because they have that technology, or a medical dispensary, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, they not paying that shit. Your car will be rejected. And I'm like, okay, so how do you know? Nah, the lady said, well, we have things embedded in our system that's proprietary that we're not gonna go into, but the banking industry has already been warned by the feds. So J.P. Morgan and Chase, you knew what was going on. You knew what was going on when there were just 4,200 transactions between Trump and Epstein alone for millions of dollars. And that ain't even just all the transactions he was getting. That's just from him. That ain't going from all the other powerful, rich people that were paying him. Leaders from other countries and government officials from other countries. Because this wasn't just a United States thing. There were dignitaries from all over the world that was dealing with Epstein. Powerful people from all over the world. The rich and wealthy that felt like they were untouchable, and that was solidified in how the government, I want to say dropped the ball, but that ain't even the right term because you deliberately allowed them to slide. You were involved in the cover-up. You might want people to think you stupid, but no, this is power that is really using its leverage to get away with crimes and the most horrific things out there. The more and more you look at this book and you listen to the statements of the victims, the angrier anyone should be. And it goes back to, these are not the behaviors of anyone innocent. And when you ran on this, see, what he is the pedophile in chief is a professional liar. So he's going to tell you what you want to hear just to get your vote. And then if you're too stupid to read between the lines and look at reason, critical thinking, you're perfect for the cult, the Pedophile Protection League, the MAGA maggot cult. You're perfect for that because you're brainless and you'll believe anything. And a lot of that is because you guys are such despicable people. You want to believe this shit. You envy the behavior and wish you could do it and get away with it, or you're already doing it. And it's not going to go nowhere. Because as long as he controls the Department of Justice, and he made sure of that, because the first time around, he couldn't do some of the shit that he's doing now. So between blanket immunity for the president and surrounding yourself with people that are so fucking dumb that They don't understand the exposure they're putting themselves in for when you're out of office. Because everybody involved in his administration should be facing state charges because they all breaking the law. So you can try to come with the federal pardons on Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Bongino, or whatever the fuck his name is, your defense attorney that's the number 2 in command. All these people that you got breaking the law for you that were more than happy to do that because it didn't start when you became president. Pam Bondi been protecting y'all in Florida for 2 decades. These are people that have been doing dirt for you before for a number of years, proving their loyalty, and that's what's got them put in the positions they're in right now. Because it's not loyalty to the country or the Constitution, it's loyalty to the pedophile and chief, and that's it. So when he out of office, I hope that these state officials that can charge these people do. And throw the fucking book at them. They all need to be locked up. He need to be charged with shit. Because you ain't doing this in the capacity of being a president. You're doing this in the capacity of, I'm a pedophile and I need to protect myself. So I'm going to use all the government might to keep myself from going to jail. That was what it was all about. There was a period of time where he wasn't even going to run again after he lost. And then it became clear that the only way that he can keep himself out of fucking jail is to win the presidency again. And he did it by all means necessary. He got on his knees for Elon Musk and cheated. This election, he didn't win this election. There's too much data out there. Unlike when he just claims the election was stolen but had no evidence or anything, there's a lot of data out there that does not support a Trump victory this time around. It just so happens that a lot of the Democrats are not trying to go down that wormhole to look like him. But you go to some of these counties and these states where it's unlikely, I won't say impossible, but highly unlikely that you're going to have people vote for a Republican president and no Republicans for the rest of the ballot. It's not impossible, but it normally is never done that way. And you go looking at some of these areas that he won, the only Republican that won anything was you. And that don't make any sense. When you had 3 million votes invalidated for bullshit reasons that you went to the courts and challenged, how you were calling people the first time around, demanding more votes, how you called Abbott Hot Wheels, and you demanded he finds you 5 more votes with this redistricting that started that. These aren't the actions of a person who won fair and square. You won't shut up about election interference and improprieties on voting. So your behavior again in that aspect of things is another telling factor of why I think you cheated your ass off and you know it and you're scared that it won't work again. Especially with you and Musk on the ins and outs. One day he hates you, another day he don't. The dude is the most bipolar, moody little girl that I've ever seen. Because you talk all this shit about him, then you're quiet, then you kind of whatever. Then you wake up one morning on the wrong side of the bed, pissed off, and you talk some more shit and all this. So, what would make me fucking laugh my ass off is if the pedophile and chief went hard on Musk, cut all his government contracts, chop his wealth, put him back in his place, chop his wealth. I hate you both, but I damn sure don't want to see this crooked, racist, apartheid Nazi having ass become a trillionaire like they trying to set him up to be with this most recent payment scheme that they working out with Tesla. Because y'all got to remember, he rich off us. Government subsidies and all that made him what he is. So even with the EV credits leaving on September 30th, the people that buy Teslas, they would still buy those cars. It's going to cripple the other companies that don't have the market that he has yet. But these people are really some despicable pieces of shits. And I'm out.